Welcome, everyone, to our very special event called On the Way to Worlds. Today, as you know, because you signed up for it, we're doing two things. We're doing a 90-minute virtual competition and then a 1 hour session where those of us who have been to Worlds in the past can transfer everything that we have learned from the last couple of years and going over to Spain to all of you, whether you're going or you're just interested or you just want to have a chat with other fun puzzlers. So before we dive in to our competition part, we see you are all set up and ready to go. We're going to go through just a couple of minutes of rules to tell you what you're about to experience. Okay. So 5 things that we're going to talk about very quickly. Number one, the first thing we're going to do is make sure everybody has their puzzling table set up and it's in the Zoom view. Looks good. Then, as you know, we're going to prompt everyone to start your timer, solve your puzzle. But the special thing today is all about commentary. So I'll let Liz talk about that in a second. And then, as usual, stop your timer, show us your time. But today, Liz and I will take care of putting your times into the chat and recording them in our official results. And then, as usual, in our other CSP events, join us in the comments and let's celebrate the other puzzlers who are still going. All right, so let's get into the first piece here.
Am I going first on this one?
Sure.
Okay, wasn't sure. Because I'll talk all day. So the first thing we're gonna do, we've set up our puzzling tables in the Zoom view. It looks like everybody is good on that. So you're going to have 90 minutes. You'll be solving a 500-piece Ravensburger puzzle, just like you would be at Worlds in an individuals competition. We're going to have you all show the camera your puzzle is still in its sealed bag. I think we can see everybody's is, and that you have your timer ready to go. We do want to have you have a timer just in case something happens. People get kicked off of the internet all of the time. We want to make sure that we have your times accurately recorded. Now the seals on the puzzle inside there has already been cut. If you want to, you can actually just feel around the edges of that just to make sure and double check, but Devin is very fastidious. They're all been cut. When you're prompted, we're going to have you cut open the side of the competition bag, but you're going to leave your puzzle in the bag. So all you're going to do is just cut one edge, but don't take anything out because we're going to do this just like a actual competition where you're taking it out of the bag and that is part of your time. Then sending it to Devin.
Perfect. And then when prompted, you know, we love a good countdown. So you'll hear us say 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 puzzle. That's when you start your timer first and then take the puzzle out of the bag, solve it as fast as you can.
We are going to do something a little bit different today, and this is the part we're so excited about. So we would say that you're going to need to either ignore and or enjoy the commentary because Devin and I will be yapping the entire time. So you'll all get a real feel for what it's like when Devin and I puzzle together because we yap the entire time.
True.
So just be aware, we're going to be talking about things. We might be talking about like where people might be having a little bit more trouble with the puzzles. We might talk about what strategies are looking like, what strategies are working, who we think is in the lead, who we think is going to finish. This is going to be going on for the entire 90 minutes. Everything is fair game here because some people will be seated near that table at Worlds and you can hear everything they are saying. So we want you to get that real life experience of being right up at that front table.
Awesome. I'm so excited for this. Okay, so as we said, we're going to just remind you all once you've solved your puzzle, stop your timer before you do everything else because we want an accurate time. Show your timer to the camera. We'll put your name and time in the chat to make sure it's officially recorded, and then you can turn off your camera and then join us in the Zoom chat for more chatter. And then
we celebrate. So when you're done and you've got your camera turned off and everything, watch how others are doing. Enjoy the commentary. Go ahead and go into the Zoom chat. Don't go up. I mean, you know what? We might ask some people to go off mute. If you go off mute, you go off mute. That's what Worlds is like. People are not mute. But don't leave Zoom because we still have more to come after the competition ends at 90 minutes. That's when we're going to be going through a lot of the things that are especially useful if you've never been to Valladolid. And even if you have, they're really good. We spent a lot of time, like days, hours, weeks, months, years, figuring out what exactly was like the pivotal information for everybody to have. At the end of the competition, we are going to be giving you 5 minute, 1 minute, and 10-second countdowns at the end, just like they do in Spain. If you are still puzzling at 90 minutes, we're going to have you stop puzzling and you're going to count your remaining pieces, again, just like in Spain. Anything that is three pieces joined together counts as assembled. Anything is not, usually it's easiest to put them in groups of 10, count them off, and then we'll have you put those numbers in the chat so that we can have an accurate record. Of course, feel free to finish the puzzle later, but you will want to like listen to the absolutely amazing discussion of all the things to do in Valladolid and how to get the most out of your world's experience afterwards.
Right. And some hard fought tips and tricks from things that we've experienced in the past. Okay, so I'm going to stop sharing the screen now so we can see all of you.
Mhm.
Okay, everybody looks good. So this is your prompt to open your black bag, but leave the puzzle in the bag.
Yes, just cut the edge.
Yes.
Don't look at the puzzle. You don't get to know yet.
Super. Okay, very good. I'm just watching to see when the scissors stop moving to make sure everybody gets a fair shake here. Honestly, we probably could have put them in ravensbags. We all have enough.
You know, maybe next time.
We could have, yeah.
The only problem is I don't think I would have oh, I mean, I have enough for one competition, but then I'd have to start my whole collection all over again.
That's true. See, guys, the yapping has begun. Okay, looks like everybody's ready to go. Can we get a quick thumbs up from everybody to your camera so we know we are good?
Thumbs down if you are not ready.
Oh, looks like everybody's ready. Liz, are you ready?
No.
I'm excited.
I'm ready. I'm ready. This is going to be so much fun. I've been looking forward to this all. Caroline is shaking in anticipation.
I love it. I love it. Okay. I'll just
Okay.
make sure that Kirsty's good and set up. Yep. Two
Okay.
thumbs up from
Thumbs
Kirsty.
up.
Okay, Liz, are you ready for our bilingual countdown?
Lista.
I don't know what that means.
It means ready in
Okay,
Spanish.
perfect. All right. And 5,
Cinco,
4,
cuatro,
3,
tres,
2,
dos,
1.
uno. Suerte!
Puzzle. Here we go. And they're off. Oh, and Kyla made it.
I do love that actually what she says in the Spanish countdown is she says suerte, which is just good luck. Like she
Okay.
doesn't say puzzle, she says good luck. Because I think the word for puzzle is really long and it would take half an hour to say it. So,
Well, it'd take more than that for me to understand it.
well, I mean, you've been to Spain how many times now?
Oh, more than enough, I think. More than enough.
Not more than enough because you've got to keep going for
I
Worlds.
suppose. I'm just paying attention to the time here. So, Kyla, don't rush. We'll get your time to start at the right time. So, don't worry.
Mhm.
Just do what you need to do here.
Oh, so we've got a question in the chat here. Someone would like to see the puzzle box. So today's puzzle that everyone should have is this beauty by Amy Stewart. This is Vintage Travel Guides. It is a Ravensburger from what was the 2017 collection. So this is actually a little bit older than most of the puzzles that we see. This is special for a couple of reasons. So the first thing that I did a little research today, Devin, I hope you don't mind.
Excellent. I'd expect nothing less.
So Amy Stewart, for those who don't know, Amy Stewart has an exclusivity agreement in North America with Buffalo Games. So only Buffalo Games can actually produce her puzzles, which is why we don't see these generally in North America. It's why we had to do some special finagling to get these in here. The other thing that I think is actually really interesting about this, even though it is a 2017 puzzle, it was used in the 2024 Swedish Nationals in the first pairs round. So if you feel like this is an overwhelming puzzle, it was used in pairs. First of all, you guys are all so good. We were like, we got to use this in individuals. But secondly, like, even though it's a little bit older, they are still using it in competitions. And so I think that's really important to know when we're getting ready for Worlds that like just because a puzzle is 6 or 7 years old does not take it literally off the table.
Oh, good one. No, it's very true. There's some that we hope are off the table, like some of them that are, big animal portraits that have been used in previous competitions where fewer than 10 people finish in the time. But something like this, that's a busy puzzle. There's a few different flavors of these vintage book type puzzles. There's the library, there's the cookbook, there's this one that we're doing today, the travel guides. So there's a lot of similar. I wonder if two of them will show up as a choice at
That
World.
would be really interesting. I mean, it does remind me of the poll I did with the fridge and the sweet shop.
It
The
does.
kitschy kitchen, I should say,
It's
and
the
sweet shop.
fridge, yes.
Yes.
The giant
Kitschy fridge.
fridge and the other statues and bowls is basically that entire puzzle.
Yeah.
So
I
we've
mean,
got
I don't think it's outside the realm of possibility, particularly, they are going to be released, like they need a lot of puzzles. So there are 6 individuals rounds. That means 12 puzzles for those first rounds. There are then 4 pairs rounds, I believe. That's another 8 puzzles. So we're talking 20 puzzles that they need to have ready to go in big enough quantities for everybody to compete with, just for the qualifiers.
That's right. And the rest will, other than the teams qualifier, from what we understand, be fresh new releases. So that's quite exciting. It really levels the playing field. I know there's a couple Canadians here who have seen and or done this puzzle in the past, but there weren't many. So this is going to be first try for a lot of the folks we're seeing on screen right now.
Yeah, we did think about sending those people your do-it-yourself crypt puzzle, which if you want to tell people a little bit about that,
Yeah,
uh,
well, I had a little arts and crafts moment this weekend where we had a sacrificial Ravensburger. It was the red lionfish. And he got spray painted black. And I ended up finishing it, Liz, which is quite impressive. But here's the plot twist. I
yes.
forgot 2 pieces of the puzzle at my parents'. So my mother found it on the floor and she mailed them to me. So I got them today.
So were those, because, okay, just so everyone knows, when I was over at your house a few days ago, we
Yep.
were looking for a piece and we're like, no, it's definitely not here. It's got to be one of those 2 pieces. Was it one of those 2 pieces? The people want to know.
Listen, I'm going with yes, just to make ourselves feel better because the rest is done. I got
So
through
the,
the rest of it.
so
So
the answer is no, it wasn't one of
quite
those.
possibly, it's quite possibly one of those. But
I mean, I'll never forget what piece that was.
well,
And
I'm going to send you photos.
yes, please do. And I will let the people know,
Yeah.
because I think it's important to know that. Though I do think it kind of reminds me of a video I saw recently about people doing the Rainbow Cats puzzle so many times
Hmm.
that when 3 of the people who did it like 200 times each did it like at a competition, and they weren't even flipping the pieces because they knew the piece shape so well that I almost wonder, like, if you did a puzzle that many times, could you just do that do-it-yourself crypt without even looking because you just know those pieces?
I bet you could if you had enough hours in the day. I see we're coming up here at 5 minutes and 30 seconds. So many folks have gotten through the flip and the edge pull, and some are starting to work on the edges now. I see a lot of fast hands. Very good. Very good. I am excited to both watch this and dig back into my DIY crypt.
Yes.
That'll be great.
It
Okay.
looks great. Do you see like a variety of different, even just the way that people are laying their pieces out on the table,
Hmm.
looking really different? I mean, I kind of love the there's just like there's an arch.
Yeah,
Sam has
like a
an arch
rainbow.
of pieces. That's kind of great. Shalini like has a beautiful like just confetti of just pulling everything into the right place where it needs to be.
Yeah, and I see Sophie's got a really good L shape there on her pieces. I know she likes to have things to the side and on top and then leave a little bit of space on her puzzle table to build out the edge.
Yeah, looks like Rebecca's got everything just on one side and is assembling quite quickly on the other.
That's it. Neat and tidy there. I see a question in the chat. Do we have time predictions for how long this will take? So
Oh.
our community in the chat, Caitlin, Caitlin is going with 48 minutes, 13 seconds. I wonder, Caitlin, did you get that off of my speed puzzling, or is this a pure gut? prediction. So let's see what she says to that. But I also do have the My Speed Puzzling data open on my screen here. I'm not going to say anything just yet. Maybe we'll start talking about the actual statistics when we get closer to the 30-minute mark. But this is Caitlin's, oh, very good. Very good. Caitlin's gut check here, her sense of how long this one will take to complete.
Caitlin's optimistic gut.
Right. Well, we have some pretty speedy folks on here, so this will
Do.
definitely be some game tape to play back and see everybody's
Oh, for sure.
strategies.
Yeah. I do think that I think 48 minutes and 13 seconds is a really good guess. I also know we have some really strong Canadians here. I think I'm
Mhm.
gonna take the under.
Price is Right rules. Is that what we're
Yeah.
doing here?
Well, I mean, I also just really believe in all the puzzlers here. I'm not gonna say who, like, I'm not gonna rank people. There's so many people, like so many really good puzzlers here that
Right.
honestly, I could not tell you who I think is gonna come in first.
Well, we will get to see that in a little bit, where we will spotlight the
Mhm.
camera views of folks and really dive into the progress that they've been making.
Yeah.
So right now, around the 9-minute mark, we're coming up to 8.5 minutes to 9 minutes on an easy puzzle. So a simple image with some clear edges. This is about the time where the fastest puzzlers would have their edges sorted out and completed. So this goes to show that this is it's a difficult image. It's a difficult edge.
Yes.
Well,
It's not one of those edges where there's obvious places where you're like, okay, this is the bottom right, this is the top left, this is the side, this is the other side. That really is a matter of having to kind of look at those pieces. I
mhm.
can't wait to hear from the puzzlers after the fact and maybe some follow-up interviews once people start finishing, of how people felt about their ability to even orient the edge because there isn't a lot here to go off of.
That's right. That's right. It's a grid-like collage busy puzzle is how I would call this one in particular, because the books are quite rectangular, but then there's those postcards or those letters thrown in at some angles. And then
Mhm.
you have the variety of colors. So, Liz, if you were going to sort out a color on this puzzle, I'm just going to hold it up for the audience. If you're going to sort out a color, what what color do you think you might choose?
I mean, I would probably choose my usual color, which is yellow, because yellow almost always pops for me immediately. And I don't see so much yellow in here that I think it would be difficult to find it. But the thing is like you've kind of got all the colors everywhere. So even with like saying, okay, well, I'm gonna pick out the yellow, like there's some on every single shelf. There's some as like highlights. There's some as the book spines. What would you go with first?
Well, I agree with our chat friend here, Caitlin, with the green. Green is a color. Shockingly, we're wearing green t-shirts that I really gravitate toward. And there's some really good chunks of green with some good texture around some of the borders on those books. Um, so that
Mhm.
might be something I would go with. I would want to be careful though about the books that are behind the travel guides. There's a lot
Yes,
of
absolutely.
green there too. So
Yes.
that if you pull everything all together, that's just something to be mindful of, is don't get too distracted by those until you've got many of the actual travel guides done. And then you can start tossing in some of those other green pieces. I see
I do.
sometimes on the commentary, they also give tips. So it's useful for those who are still listening to us.
I do think though that there are, I'm almost wondering, would I actually go for the colors at all in the first place? Because I think what I might go with first with this one is I might try to pull out those books that are in the background and use that plus the shelving as creating my frames to then fill the books in. The only book that I think I would actually pull immediately myself is that Egypt travel book up in the top left. And
Right.
that's partly because I've seen that image before in another puzzle.
Oh, get out. Oh, that's
Yeah.
cool.
Yeah. That was in I have like a a white mountain travel poster that has, it's kind of similar to this in that it's a lot of different travel posters. And it's that same image of the Sphinx and the word travel and like the little people in the sand and down there. So I've seen
Yeah.
that same image. None of the other images that are on here were actually all that familiar to me. Um, I'm gonna kind of assume that these are all real books and posters, mostly because I've seen one of them before, and so I'm just gonna assume everything else is true and not made up.
We're gonna go with it. Something that so I've done this puzzle. I did this puzzle last night as well, just to refamiliarize, is that a word? Refamiliarize myself with the shapes and the textures and just like how many pieces make up these small books. And something that didn't pop out at me the first time that did last night was actually the Scotland one
Hmm.
down at the bottom there, because you can
Yes.
really clearly see the ivory color of that cover of the book. So that jumped out at me,
Yeah.
definitely. But Liz, I want to go back to your thinking around the frames, using the shelves as
Mhm.
frames. I think I would take a different strategy here, but I think that a puzzle with clear frames like this, if
Hmm.
you're feeling stuck,
Yeah.
that's where you pivot,
Fair.
right?
Yes.
So if
Yeah.
you're feeling stuck and you're really having a hard time with the busyness of the puzzle, I mean, the shelves are the shelves,
Yeah.
right? They're going to
Yeah.
fit in together somehow.
Yeah.
So that
Yeah.
could be a good pivot point for folks who are feeling a little jammed.
Yeah, I do think though, and part of the reason that I'm leaning towards doing that as an original, like as an initial strategy, is because of doing the golden solar system yesterday, in which there are a couple of those, like almost like shelves. They're the little pipes that go
Yep.
out to the little suns. I can just show that for the screen here for anyone who's not familiar. So this puzzle here has these nice poles that go right out. And I found those to be one of the things when I was feeling stuck. I was like, okay, you know what? I can make these lines happen. There are horizontal lines. I can find those pieces. I can do that. And so I think maybe also, we are the sum of the puzzles we've put together. And so my strategies are going to be based on the strategies that I've found worked in the past and probably the more recent past, because as I grow as a puzzler, those strategies are going to change.
That's right. That's right. They definitely will. And I think they should, because you're going to build good habits that work for you. Also, acknowledge when you're building habits that don't. Something Liz and I were talking about this weekend when we were puzzling together um, was I now have a new habit of having far too many pieces in my left hand and just holding on to them. Comfort pieces, right? So I'm sure we all do that sometimes. So I've tried to tell myself now that the pieces are lava, right? Or they're on fire or something. I should just drop them onto the table, grab some, but then put them down so I can see what I'm working with. And even just having that little funny line in the back of my mind has made me acknowledge my hand speed has slowed down a little bit. So I've picked up my hand speed by saying that. And then all of the sudden, I'm able to do a 1,000 piece puzzle last night in an hour 31,
That's
right? The pieces
amazing.
are lava.
I think that's actually though, like whatever it takes to get your mind
Yeah.
into that, like getting itself out of its comfort zone. Because when you're in your comfort zone, you're not going to go as fast. Like even if you're happy and you're enjoying it, if the goal is to go fast and you're comfortable, then you could still go faster.
Mhm. Yeah, I fully agree with that. Liz, what do you think? Why don't we spotlight a few of our puzzlers here?
I would love to. I
Okay,
have a few
go
people I've been kind of keeping an eye
alphabetical.
on.
Okay, so we're gonna spotlight. We'll go alphabetical here. I'll do my very best to be alphabetical. So
Now,
looking
so
for
this is great. So Allison is doing a great job. Actually, both Allison. We're looking at just Allisons. This is the Allison's hour. They're both doing great. You know what I think is actually really interesting here is that I kind of feel like they're sort of neck and neck. Also, just looking at the different colors of tables, and it
okay.
really has me thinking about how that impacts how you see the puzzle and probably impacts the pieces that you go for first. Because, if you have a white table, you're going to have a lot more bounce. Those colors might appear brighter.
Mhm.
Whereas if you're on a black surface, perhaps those those darker colors don't pop out to you as much. And you might save those for last, or maybe find a tray to put them on, something like that, just to give yourself a little bit of a different view.
That's right. That's right. So at Worlds, the first year I went 2 years ago, well, I suppose 3 years ago now, 2023, in my qualification round, I had the springtime in Paris, right? With that white sky on the white table.
Mm-hmm.
And the light wasn't great. As we know, sometimes that can happen in the dome, not all the time, but in certain rounds, the light becomes a little too artificial. So to me, it was just like a white crypt in that sky. And I struggled. And even Val had said something on the live stream. This is before I met her, so we didn't know each other. She didn't know who I was, but she says, "Hey, that Canadian is really struggling with the white sky over there." And I watched that back and I was like, yes, I was. It was very difficult. The white on white, I couldn't see any variation.
I will see your springtime in Paris puzzle and its whiteness, and I will raise you Monaco, which is what I got last year.
You
And
do.
let's talk about white on white on white.
Mhm.
Not only was it Monaco, which is a very flat white puzzle on a shiny white surface, it was also 1 o'clock in the afternoon.
Mhm.
So it was very hot in the dome and very bright. And as Canadians, I think most of us are familiar with the concept of snow blindness. And it honestly, I needed my sunglasses on in the dome. It was so bright. And then, of course, once I'm puzzling, I'm not going to keep my sunglasses on. That's not a good idea, but maybe it would have been because it was hard to see those pieces.
That's it. That's it. This is a great view. So we've got Allison E and Allison B in our top row here. So it looks like Allison B is finishing off her edge and she's got a couple of piles sorted in the edge. But Allison E has done a little bit of the edge and she's making smaller projects. So it looks like she's got something sorted on her small tray there and she's building out a variety of books on the inside.
Unsurprisingly, I will say Allison E is starting with the purple. And that is, for those of us who know Allison E, that's her go-to color. So not at all surprised. And I think it's a great idea to start out with the color that not only pops to you, but makes you happy. Get that color, like do that, like start out on a really good note.
That's right. Get the momentum. So speaking of momentum, we see that Adam is actually taking a similar strategy to Allison, but instead of purple, it looks like there's some yellow, a little bit of blue, perhaps some green in there, but the edge is not complete.
I would like to think he was listening to us and decided to go with the yellow and the green because we said
There
so.
you go. Pay it forward. I love it. No, no, he's saying no. It was his own decision. Yes.
Also, what I think is interesting is we can see on Adams that we can see his goals for this puzzle.
Hmm.
I'm going to assume that those goals were updated for today's puzzle, not knowing what the puzzle is. So that's a bold move right there.
Well, and listen, any sub 40 is an excellent time. Any sub 60, quite honestly, is an excellent time.
On this puzzle in particular,
That's
yes.
it. So I see some the edge is almost complete for Amy, which is
Yes.
great progress. And there's either a couple of projects or a couple of piles ready to be put together in the frame of the puzzle there.
Yes.
Excellent. So I'm going to switch our spotlights here as we go.
I do love, I understand the concept behind starting with projects and saving that border for last, particularly on a puzzle like this one today, where there's not a whole lot of easily discernible images. But I also really see that opposite argument, which is if you've got a frame there, you have the border, you know how big that puzzle is. And no
Mhm.
matter how many 500-piece puzzles I do, like I'm always kind of surprised by how small they are. So if I get that border, that edge done first, I feel like a sense of relief, like, okay, I can do this. It's not that big. It's not 3 feet by 5 feet. I don't know what that is in meters, like a meter by 2.5 meters. I don't know. It's not that. Like it's totally doable. And I always get personally a sense of relief from that. At the same time, when you just do like little pieces and you put them all together and they come together at the end, that feels so good too.
Absolutely. When you have everything you need to toss something together quickly, it really builds that momentum.
Hmm.
Okay, so who do we have on our spotlight now? We've got Caroline, Katie, Danielle, and Heather.
Hmm.
Okay, we've got some frames done, not all frames done. It's quite interesting. We've got many folks not finishing up the frame and moving on to some of the smaller projects, potentially to build up that momentum because that frame is quite difficult.
It really is, and I think that that's kind of showing. I feel like a lot of where we're seeing frames done, it's the same. It's the top edge there, which seems to have a really light border to it. I
Mhm.
think that probably makes it stand out a little bit more, particularly against some of these darker tables. And again, here we have the same example of like we've got a brown table, a gray table, a white table, another white table. And that has to be in some way influencing how people are doing their solves.
I think so. The contrast matters.
Mhm.
Just seeing, it looks like Danielle is moving on to some green borders now. She's got a lot of that bright yellow, that bright blue London book up at the top there. Lots
Half
of projects happening.
half of my Egyptian travel guide.
Yes. Yeah. Katie as well with half of the Egyptian travel guide.
Hmm.
Really going through with fast hands to pull some of the pieces that have a similar texture to what she's seen so far.
Hmm. I also want to call out Katie and using the same method I use for a box stand, which is just kind of throw it in front of me and I'm not going to worry about a stand. And hopefully it's a little angled and doesn't close itself up all the way together so that I can see it a little bit better.
There you go. There you go. Okay, and
Hmm.
Caroline is motoring over here too, really going through the pieces,
Yeah.
grabbing things that she recognizes. I saw that fail fast just now. That's wonderful, but failing, yes, thumbs up. Fail fast, but put it where you know it goes, right?
Yes.
If
Yeah, it
they,
looks like that London book that's right in that top center.
yeah,
Like great choice. And in fact, looking around, it looks like a lot of people have that same book done because, I'm gonna guess that like for most people, those colors, because it's such a bright blue, that's really popping for people.
that's it. That's it. And Heather is progressing. It looks very organized. So we've got
Absolutely.
all of the edge pieces in very specific orientations along the bottom there. So as soon as there's another clue, we can jam them together.
Hmm.
Building out that London, that bright blue must really stand out to folks.
Yeah, it must, because I've seen that everywhere. It's a
That
good
is.
thing. It's a good thing we didn't get the puzzle that's just that bright blue of London.
Well, careful. I'll bring my spray paint next time. Everybody gets a crypt. All right, let's switch up our spotlights here. I'll come back to folks in a bit.
And we are coming up on about 25 minutes. And, I think we're about looking at people's solves. We're about where I would expect to be at this point for this particular puzzle. I think there is a lot of challenging elements to this puzzle. As I
Mhm.
mentioned earlier, this was actually done as a pairs competition before. We're just better in Canada, so we had to, up the ante a little bit there.
And you're not going to get an argument from me.
Also, it's really great to get an Amy Stewart Ravensburger here because, again,
Mm,
we can't get them unless we import them specially or bring them, back on a trip in a suitcase.
that's right. That's right. Okay, we're getting our spotlight up here. I'm trying to do it alphabetically and I'm not being very successful. So don't worry, I have
I'm
a list. So everyone will get spotlighted. Here we go.
I'm impressed that you know the alphabet because I always have to like do the alphabet song in my head, and sometimes I do it with sign language so that because I just can't remember it. So like if I don't want people to know, I'll just like sneakily sign language. So if you ever see me like going like PQRS, that's why because I don't know my alphabet otherwise.
Well, you know me, left and right is very confusing.
I can't do left and right. I usually guess, and 50% of the time I get it wrong. I think that makes me a terrible pairs partner. I'm so sorry, Kirsty. But
Oh,
speaking of Kirsty,
yes.
motoring along,
So
absolutely doing
Kirsty,
fantastic there.
Kirsty is doing another Amy Stewart puzzle because
Oh,
we had a few shipping hiccups, but she had the vintage library already in her puzzle collection. So it's a very similar puzzle. The books are a little bit bigger.
mhm.
So it'll be interesting to see, Kirsty's time in comparison to some of these others. And I know when Kirsty gets the puzzle that is, of course, arriving tomorrow,
Of
she'll
course.
speed run it and let us know her time so we can put it in the results for today.
And I cannot wait to hear what that is because I hate not knowing things. It's the worst. I want to know how Kirsty's gonna do on it.
Well, it's
I
really cool to know that these three folks who are doing the same puzzle, I see that
Mhm.
London book and the yellow one at the top too.
Yeah.
It's very popular starting points. So those
Mhm.
pieces must just jump out.
Absolutely. And what I'm really glad to see though is that because they jump out, people are just doing them. I
Hmm.
think that there is a tendency that a lot of people have to say, well, this is the easy thing, I'm going to save it for later. Don't save the easy thing for later. Do the easy thing right up front because not only do you then get a little bit of that confidence, you have something more to work off of.
That's
And
it.
so the more you have to work off of, like once those two pieces are together, like you've got two pieces together. That's like I don't do math, but
I
it's
was
like
just gonna say that's like math,
it's
right?
like it's like some percent of the puzzle that's really small, but like still, like that's a percent of the puzzle that's done.
It's
That's
math.
why I love getting a freebie in there because, it's like, oh, that piece of the puzzle's already done.
Oh, freebie on the edge is just a gift. A gift from the puzzle fairies.
See,
And
my favorite is not a freebie on the edge. I like a freebie in whatever part is the hardest.
well, fair enough. Fair enough.
Yeah.
Removes the
When
variables.
when I did Monaco, I had a six-piece freebie, but it was all the bottom right-hand corner, which was the easiest part of the puzzle.
I think Sophie got a freebie on the Monaco one as well. It was, yeah, see a thumbs up there. Yep, it was
Yeah.
very common.
Yeah.
This is interesting. We've got a couple of different tactics here where
Yeah.
Friend's puzzling area inside her frame is very neat and tidy.
Yes.
Very neat and tidy. And then we
Mhm.
see Janet's area in there. She's building projects in there, which saves you from travel time for sure.
Mhm.
And perhaps all of those pieces will just get sucked into a certain book and you can see them right in front of you, which
Yeah.
would be great. I would caution not to do too much in your frame to make it cluttered so then you actually lose sight of your projects. But
Right.
it
Or
looks
you
like
spend
they're
time
both
later.
neck and neck. Yeah,
Yeah, if you spend time later taking them out because you've
that's
cluttered your
right.
space. I
Yeah.
mean, I will say, as a fan of the pick and place, or as Andrea Peng says, dead reckoning method, I'm a fan of that. It's always when you are with a partner, though, a good thing to establish beforehand if that is a viable strategy, because not everybody is okay with putting pieces in the puzzle before they're connected. So,
That's right.
but
That's
when you're on your own, do whatever makes you happy.
that's
You don't
it.
have,
I
you're
just
making
let
the rules.
Janet put a huge project and connect that Scotland book down to the edge.
That was
Fantastic.
fantastic.
Yeah.
Irene is also doing really great here. Again, has the London and the Jamaica books
Yep.
totally ready to go. Looks like Paris has also been accomplished by night.
That's right. And I think I see some of the Greece book done down there too, and a little
Yeah.
project coming in right now. Very
As we
nice.
speak, yes. And I do love like this is just showing a different method here of,
Mm,
doing those projects off to the side and then moving them into the puzzle once you feel ready.
exactly. Okay, let's switch our spotlights here.
This is so exciting. I mean, who knew that live puzzle action was such a great thing to watch?
I think we all did, Liz. I
Okay,
think
fine.
we all did. I think 3 years ago we absolutely did not. But
It's fair.
now, yeah, now we do. Okay, so we're going to bring up Laura and Rebecca and Kyla. Let me find Kyla. If I say it out loud, I'll be able to find you all
Yeah.
quicker.
I will say, like, as we're pulling people up, like,
Veronica.
people are really motoring along. We're seeing some really great progress on this puzzle. Rolanda's got quite a bit of that second shelf ready to go in the frame.
Fantastic. And Rebecca's building, I don't know if this is on purpose or just because it's what she's seeing, but she's really building out from the edge and using those clues to
Yes.
build out the books that are closest to the edge with some island um, projects in there too, as is natural.
Hmm.
That's
Kyla
wonderful.
is doing a great job of just building the things I think that are popping to her and dealing with occasional guest appearances from Midnight. Okay, I like that.
And I made sure to write it in the chat, but Kyla started at 48 seconds.
Yes.
So we've got a little bit of a time lag there. So she'll get an extra 48 seconds here.
Absolutely. I don't know that I've seen Laura's cat for a while, and I can't remember her cat's name, so we're gonna have to get that and put it in post.
That's it. We'll put
So
it
we'll just say cat name, insert here, and then we'll just add that later.
I'm sure it'll sound totally natural. My editing
Absolutely.
skills are top notch. Oh,
Laura, however, is also motoring along, which makes me think that her cat has not been making as many appearances as we're used to, because like she's making great progress on that. Also has a significant portion of that second row and looks like the bottom row done too.
I think so. I think there's a great frame happening
Hmm.
and really clean inside the frame there too.
Yeah. It does make me think too that, because we're seeing again a lot of the same books are getting done in the same order,
Mhm.
that this puzzle, even though when you look at the box and say, oh, well, that Roma book doesn't seem to be popping out to people maybe as much as I would expect it to, because again, we got to remember with a Ravensburger, the picture on the box is probably a little bit brighter than the puzzle itself actually is when you're doing it. And also, when you're looking at the box, you don't see like the little indents, like the pieces don't look the same. Because when you actually have that die cut in there, it sort of, gives the puzzle a little bit of a 3D-ness and some shape there that you're not really expecting necessarily. And part of it is just learning where those dips and valleys are.
That's right. And your point on the puzzle itself being a couple of shades darker than the box, that
Mhm.
can definitely influence the choice you make in a competition. If you do get to choose between two puzzles, you'll need to take into account what the lighting is like and where the lighting is going.
Very important. Would you like to tell us about Penelope?
Oh, Penelope. Penelope is a good friend of mine and Caitlin and Sophie's. Penelope is the cow in the bathtub. We had to name her because we all had some shared trauma from going through that puzzle late at night. We got it done. We got it done and we qualified. And I think we had a great time. And then we did the garden, the Queen's Garden
Mhm.
after that. But we started with Penelope because it was the darker of the two puzzles that we had chosen. And we were losing the light because our round was in the evening.
Mhm.
So we thought, hey, let's just do the darker one, get it out of the way, and then we can move on to something that, even though, there's a lot of greenery, a lot of foliage, a lot of flowers, it was brighter. So what we didn't account for in a way that I will this year, if it affects myself or other puzzlers I know, like some of the folks on here, is if you are near the Jumbotron, light is going to get colorful all the time because it reflects onto your puzzle,
Mhm.
especially when you're not competing with the natural daylight. So if you're puzzling at night and you're puzzling by the Jumbotron, and you don't have to be at table one, you can just be
Mhm.
near it, you will get some sort of um, differences in lighting as you go. And sometimes it'll make your pieces clearer
Mhm.
because you've got the right tone of the light. And sometimes it will make it incredibly difficult to see any kind of gradient or shade differences.
When I was there last year for our pairs round, Charlie Friesen and I, we had table, I think it was 33, maybe 31, something like that. It was right under the Jumbotron. I've got great pictures of us literally, like Charlie's just like right in front of all of the trophies and the giant screen. And we were lucky enough, question mark, to get the pink lightning as our pairs qualifier.
Lovely.
And I will say that, like, when you are doing what is essentially a gradient crypt puzzle under the Jumbotron, it gets rough because, you're looking for a particular tone of that color, and then the lighting changes, and all of a sudden you're looking for a completely different color. And unfortunately, there's nothing you can really do about that because we're not allowed to bring artificial light sources with us. But it is an argument for maybe practicing in front of a TV while something that changes a lot is on. Maybe even playing the live stream from last year right in front of the TV so that you do have that color if your TV's bright enough and large enough, just so you do have some of that same experience because you're not going to necessarily know where all your tables are. So even, you don't know until you get in there how, you think maybe they've decided they're going to start table number one at the other end this time. We don't know.
And even when you get in the dome, you still might not know because it might
You
not be
still,
posted.
they may not have even printed the table cards yet.
This might be true. All
We
right,
did just see an amazing save by Sam C, by the way, where a piece just went flying, but caught it right away. That was excellent handwork there. So it's not just about fast hands when putting the pieces in.
that's
It's about
right.
keeping them off of the floor.
And speaking of having coordination, Rolanda is putting in a ton of islands and connecting them in. That looks great.
Oh my God, doing amazing. I was
Yeah,
noticing that too. Like all of a
great.
sudden, I just saw Rolanda do half of the puzzle.
Boom, boom, boom. It's all together.
Rolanda's a sleeper agent. We had no idea.
We had some idea.
Okay,
Look at
that's
this
fair.
go. This is great.
I'm just glad she's on my team.
Yes. Okay, so who else can we bring up? Let's bring up Shalini. And I'm keeping Kirsty on
Mhm.
the spotlight here because I know her puzzle is ever so slightly easier than what folks are doing. So, and I see her nodding, yeah. So
Yeah.
we do want to catch the finish here. Uh,
Yes.
so keep going, fast hands, and look at that focus.
And if Kirsty's mail person does show up with the other puzzle, she just has to do it right away.
That's perfect. Back to back, double header.
Yeah.
Excellent. Okay, so who?
I love the teamwork here with Ruth and Andrea.
So there's some good focus. This one,
Hmm.
I'm not sure if being upside down would really bother me all that much because, things are pretty square. I know the words would be upside down, but
I was
you know
about to
that they're quite
ask, yeah.
linear. Yeah.
I do think like if like let's say you and I were doing this one as a team, as a pair, Devin, if I were upside down, I'd be like, great, all the words are going to you because the upside down words would bother me.
Strategic. Yes.
Although what we've been practicing is you being upside down, so I will do all the words and you can do everything else. I'll literally do just those things.
I'm okay with upside down. I'm not great with a 90-degree turn.
Interesting. Yeah, I think I've heard that from a few people.
Yeah,
Yeah. Maybe that's the next thing to practice is the 90 degree. Although we've done a lot of 90 degrees also.
we
So,
have. Yeah, we have.
yeah.
And Sophie and I did a 90-degree on the farm in Sweden with
Hmm.
all the grass and the flowers. And, we qualified. So whatever we did was good enough to qualify. I'll
Yeah.
tell you what, though, that was a tricky one. I would not like to repeat it.
Speaking of that, I'm curious because, like we know that you and Sophie are both very strong puzzlers. When you're in that qualification round, do you give it everything you have, or are you like, I just need to qualify, I just need to be good enough? Like what game do you bring? Do you
Okay,
bring
this is a great question.
your A game,
Oh,
your
look at
A
that, the A
team?
team. I love it. So I, to me, and this is just me speaking personally based on how I've reacted to puzzles showing up in a puzzle bag. If I like the puzzle,
Mhm.
I am so much more motivated to give it my all. If
Yes.
I think the puzzle is going to be really difficult, like yeah, everybody knows the brown one I got last year, super good. Or the farms in Sweden, it's just like, you know what, I'm just going to get through it. I'm going to get through it. I'm going to try, but I'm not going to get frustrated or discouraged as I go through this because it is quite difficult. And
Mhm.
everybody else got the difficult puzzle too.
That's
So
very
it's easy for me to crank up the energy for a puzzle image that I just think is super cute or super bright or very clear colors, not muddy. If
true.
it's something that is not those things, like what I faced last year, then it flips a little bit into just get through it and get through it as good as you can, and then you don't have to do it again.
And have you done that one again?
I have, yeah, I know. It's just I have to practice. So
I mean, it's fair. I
that's
don't think, even if they do reuse puzzles that have been used in previous worlds, I really don't feel like they're going to use ones that they used last year.
I'd agree with that. I'd agree with that. I wonder if they'll use this one. Sam is motoring. Good
Sam
stuff is
is
happening.
moving quickly.
That's it.
Yeah.
Shalini
But
is
Shalini's moving
definitely,
deliberately.
that's it. Very deliberate, looks very
Mhm.
focused, pulling things with purpose.
Absolutely. And I think there are, good things about both approaches.
I agree. And I think you need to flex sometimes.
Oh, absolutely.
Okay,
I
let's
also
see.
like that Shalini's got her timer angled away from her. And I will say that I have learned that if I look at the timer while I am puzzling, it throws me off. I don't want to know the time. I don't want to know how much time has passed. And in fact, at this point, I don't know how much time has passed because we're not spotlighting that timer.
We are not. I can tell you though, it's 42 minutes, folks. 42 minutes have passed.
And we're also watching Kirsty just about finish up her puzzle, which again, just to remind everyone, is not the same puzzle everyone else is doing.
But
Um,
boy, she did a
but she's
fantastic job. Yes, Kirsty, congratulations. You motored through that one with a time of 42:21 on Vintage Library. Yes, we came with special effects.
Yes, we did. I almost forgot. I was so excited watching. I forgot to play
That's
it.
great.
I mean, that was me actually clapping. Yes. And
Okay,
looks like
time
we've
has
got
been
some new
recorded.
people here. So we've got Sophie, who's doing fantastic. Uh, and I'm terribly sorry. I don't know if it's Tamara or Tamara. And then we've also got Tess.
Just motoring through.
All three of them really just moving along.
That's it. Looks like there's been some piece rearranged because they're so far through this. Bring it all to one side.
Hmm.
Motor through. Sophie has, it looks like many books done or almost done, and some of that frame lives, like you mentioned.
Hmm.
So shelves moved across, and it looks like Tess is in the same boat here, actually.
Yeah. I will say though, looking at how little of those shelves have been put together, maybe that would have been a bad strategy. And for anyone who has puzzled with me knows, I will say, I'm going to work on this thing right here, and then I do everything except. I'll be like, I'm going to go ahead and pull all these shelves, and then I don't see them anymore, but I do see the, oh, I don't know, the Spell of Holland book. Like, and all of a sudden, I'll just pull that. And Kirsty is acknowledging that that is true.
Yes. This is great. Something I love to see as we get down to the end on some of these. We've got Tamara with very neat and tidy in her frame. It's kind of a theme I'm seeing with some folks because it's such a busy puzzle. How do we keep the workspace within the frame
Mhm.
with only pieces that you know go where you've placed them?
I also saw Tamara a few moments ago just moving things around to make sure that they were actually in those right spots because
Mhm.
with some of these repeated colors and some of the textures even being somewhat repeated, it can be hard to tell like which orientation, if it's maybe 90 or 100 degrees, 80 degrees off. Or maybe it's in the top left and it's you thought it was in the bottom right. So it's really good to see that deliberate choice of where the pieces and the projects are going when they are actually in the puzzle.
That's right. Okay, I've removed all the spotlights because we've cycled through everyone. And we have some incredible progress going on. Let's check back in with some folks. Looks like Allison E. and Danielle are pretty close together.
They really are.
Yes. It
If they
looks,
didn't have two different colors of tables, I might think they were the same person.
yeah, it's actually quite similar. So everyone, if you don't know, Allison and Danielle are going to be pairs partners this year at Worlds. So the fact that they have taken a very similar strategy here, I think speaks to their compatibility as puzzlers.
Now, is that a compatible, like if you're both strong at the same things, or is it better to be strong at different things? That is the
I think
question.
you could go either way. I think you
Yeah,
could go because if you're strong at the same things, you plow through and get to the tricky bits quicker.
that's fair. Yeah.
So we are at 46 minutes. I'm going to rearrange a couple windows here to bring up our top contenders to the top of the screen in the recording.
Mhm. Yeah, we're seeing some really good progress here, really from everybody. Like, I'm very impressed because, as we've been saying, this isn't exactly the world's easiest puzzle. And
It's
I really hope it shows up in everybody's round. Like, I know we're all in different rounds, but somehow we all get this puzzle because we've all practiced it now. Caitlin is well, you know what, Caitlin, your prediction might not be right, but I took the under. So,
And I didn't make one. I don't know if that's a problem.
I mean, I guess by default you took the over
I
then.
guess I did. Yeah. Price is right rules here. Just get
I mean, I do think that at this point, if Caitlin wants to make another guess, and if Kirsty wants to make a guess at what kind of time we think we're going to see for our first finisher, this would be a good time to do it. We've got some information here. We kind of see the progress people have made.
hmm
I'd be okay with that. I mean, the fabulous prizes are no longer available to be won.
So it looks like if we had to say who our top contenders are, it's looking like Katie, Tess, and Sophie
Hmm.
are neck in neck here. So
Hmm.
it's really hard to tell actually because all three of them have different camera angles. So it's a little hard
Very
to
true.
see who is truly ahead. Um, but very, very close behind. We've got who do we have? Rolanda's close behind.
Rolanda's
Yep.
just absolutely smashing
Merritt's
it.
close behind. Yeah,
Adam,
I think so. And I think Sam is inching up there. And I think Laura might be too.
yeah.
The I think that we're going to have some very close finishers here. I don't think there's going to be a huge delta as the results start
Hmm.
rolling in.
Yeah. Yeah, I think this is going to be one of those where you're making the volunteers run around and grab everybody's time and they just
Yep,
don't have time to even take them up to the front to be put into the computer, which is part of why sometimes it takes a while for the times to be entered online.
that's
All right. We have a guess here from Kirsty, 54 minutes and 32 seconds. Just to be dramatic.
it.
I say if we've got somebody at 54:32 on the dot, I will buy you a Coke.
Mm,
I know, I'll buy you a beer at Section 6 in person.
she's very happy with this.
Yes. And that happens to be her local, which is like half a block from our house. So,
Perfect. Perfect. Oh, this is energizing. So some people have chosen to stand up the whole time. It looks like Allison, Tess, and Katie are all standing up. I think Danielle is standing up. I think she is based on her view.
mhm.
I see some like Kyla is a traditional stander upper, if I can say it that way, and she's motoring on down there for sure. It
Mhm.
looks like Sam has stood up as well to get that energy going. Some of
Yeah.
the others I can't quite tell.
Mhm. I think it is important too, depending on your light. Like just standing can change that angle of view, which can help you to see pieces that you weren't seeing before because you've looked at every piece at this point. And so
hmm
it's a matter of picking out which piece is going to go in there and what. And sometimes just doing that, just standing up and giving yourself a little bit of an angle can make a huge difference.
So it
And
looks, is it true, Kirsty, you have done vintage travel guides last nearly a year ago? Do you know what your time was? If you put it in the chat, I'd be very interested.
yes, and why was that not on my speed puzzling?
Okay, it looks like Kirsty had done this puzzle a year ago, right? There's been lots of practice and development in between, and she just got a super fast time on the vintage library. And she says she was an amateur back then, but it was under 90 minutes. It was 1 hour, 10 minutes, and 3 seconds, which I think is pretty fantastic.
Think that's really amazing. And if I had an hour and 10 minutes on any puzzle, I'd be thrilled.
That is that.
Also, I think the amateur's comment is to my telling her not to put her time, that she didn't put her time on
Oh,
myspeedpuzzling.com.
fair
This
enough.
also is not sponsored by myspeedpuzzling.com. However, if they would like to sponsor us, we would be happy to work something out.
Or even just have some kind of cool thing where you can select that this was a CSP event or a BYOP or something. I think that would be cool. Feature request.
Yes,
There you
and
go.
they do take feature requests.
It says this is getting tight here at the end. It is potentially a 2 or 3 horse race here for our top spot on this particular puzzle. Um,
Mhm.
but you know what? Let's see how it plays out. Let's see how it plays out.
Yeah, we're looking very close here. I'm so impressed just to see how quickly, and I would love to just be inside the brains of people who can do this puzzle in, you know, if not under an hour, close to an hour, because it's kind of phenomenal just to watch. Oh, and this actually, Kirsty has a great point that it was really distracting because she was doing a different puzzle. And so if you are able to hear the commentary for your world's qualifier, you might not be doing the puzzle they're talking about because there will be two puzzles.
That is a great point.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I'm trying to spotlight our top contenders here. And I spotlit the timer as well so we can see.
Yeah. We're seeing some amazing work here from Tess, Sophie, and Katie.
Wow, fast hands. This is a tight race. Liz, let me know if you see anyone else we want to add to the spotlight. I
Yeah,
do predict these are going to be our top three finishers.
I think you're right about that. I do think though that we have once these top three are in, we're going to be rolling through people quickly because there are some people who are not far behind.
That is true. I think we're going to have two fast batches at the top here.
Caitlin would like to know if you would shape sort at this point.
Doing this one last night, I don't think I would. I don't think I would. I would do, if I got stuck, I'd do the shelves, which all three of these ladies have already done. But then it's really a texture game after that. If you have so few left, it might not be worth it. If I felt super stuck, yes, I would
Mhm.
go with that because if I'm not making any progress for a good while and I'm feeling stuck, that might help me get additional momentum as a backup strategy. But as a first strategy, for me personally, I would not move to a shape sword on this one just yet.
Okay.
Yeah.
Did you, when you done, because you've done this one once or twice now?
This one I had done several months ago when I first got it, and then I did it again last night.
Okay. Did you ever shape sort? Do you know if like even in that months and months ago, do you
I don't
remember?
recall. I'd hazard a guess as no. Something like this I probably wouldn't. Like the Kitschy Kitchen, I
Hmm.
wouldn't, or the candy shop, I really wouldn't. The busy ones.
Right.
But maybe I'd be faster if I did. So that's something to think about, right? Depends on what flow you're in. Like if you're stuck, could be a great thing to do. But if you're
Mhm.
not and you're still getting pieces in, keep going.
Yeah. I will say that, Christy, I'm so sorry, but I don't owe you a pint.
Oh, oh no.
I'll buy Christy a pint anyway. It just might not be at section 6.
Oh boy, this is neck and neck. Okay, we're
We
moving into
are,
some dead reckoning here for some of our puzzlers.
yeah, I will say that I think that we are at the point with all three of our top contenders here where it does look like, those pieces are getting harder and harder to tell the difference in what they are and to find them quickly because I have seen a lot of referring to the box on this
Yes,
one now.
yes, I would agree with that. I'm going to take a peek at what some other folks are doing as well, because we've got the second batch of folks really racing up to the top here.
Yeah, I feel like people are kind of coming up from behind. Maybe it's all the talk about there being
Right?
three other people who are in the top, and that can get a fire under you.
Sure can. It sure can.
Hmm.
This is tight. So we see some great progress. I've also spotlighted Allison and Adam because they are, I believe, part of that second really quick to finish batch.
I think Rolanda maybe should be in this batch too,
I
honestly. She's
agree.
really
Mara as well, and I think
amazing.
Danielle.
Yeah.
Keep going, folks. Keep your fast hands.
Yeah. And I will say, because for those of you who aren't the people that we're mentioning right now in these top contenders, you're not far behind.
That's it.
Like, we're actually having some trouble here figuring out who's going to be in those first couple of finishers because everybody is doing such good work on this puzzle and moving along so swiftly that, it's kind of hard to tell.
This is gonna be close. This is going to be close. I've got Tamara and Danielle next to each other, and boy, oh boy, it's almost as if you might have done different sections of the puzzle, but it is close together, the
Hmm.
progress that you're making. Okay, I think we're coming down here where Tess and Katie have maybe 30 pieces, maybe fewer
Hmm.
going, and I can't quite see how many Soph might have, but I think we are rounding the corner at the end here. This is exciting. I wonder if we're going to get under an hour. So we're at 57:30.
Hmm.
Wonder if there can be a sprint to the finish.
If ever there's a time to do a sprint, this is the time. I think it's gonna be really close. If anybody is able to get this one in under an hour, it's gonna be like 59-59. Like this is a tough one.
It's really tough. It's really
Hmm.
tough. This is a where you fight for your focus
Yeah,
at the end there because the last pieces are there because they're tricky.
exactly.
Right? If they were easy, it would
Mhm.
have flowed through, but they're there
Right.
because they're difficult.
Absolutely.
That's it. We see some fast hands, might see some piece jail happening. This is
Hmm.
so interesting because Katie and Tess both have pieces underneath the puzzle and to the side. And I wonder what the strategy is there.
And it's interesting to look at their puzzles because it does seem like they have pieces that haven't been placed yet in about the same places on the puzzle, but
Yes,
they are not the exact same pieces. So it seems to be like those particular books are harder, but it's not necessarily the same parts of those books that are a little bit, more tricky to get in there.
that's it. Okay, we're coming up on 59 minutes. We're about 5 seconds away from 59 minutes.
I actually do think somebody might be able to get this in under an hour.
I think so. I think so.
Hmm. I really see that happening.
Which is absolutely phenomenal because when folks go to check the times on my speed puzzling,
Hmm.
if you get close to the hour mark and slightly under on a first try, that's in the top 10.
Hmm.
Like this is a difficult first try puzzle.
It absolutely is. I will say it's my favorite type of puzzle, and I can't wait to do it. And I would like to think I'm going to do really, really well.
Here we go. Push through
Okay.
team.
We are so close. We have got, less than 10 pieces for one person. The other person, I can't tell exactly. I don't even want to call out names right now because
We are close.
it's that close. Because by the time I finish my sentence, that person may have finished
I've got goosebumps. They're back.
the puzzle
Back.
goosebumps.
You betcha. Here we go.
Oh, we're so close. We're down to just a few pieces.
Come on, come
And
on. And 59:59.
59-59.
And 1 hour, is that hour on the dot, Katie? Get out an hour, 2 seconds,
Oh
a
my
three
gosh.
second difference here at the end. That
That
is unbelievable.
that was phenomenal.
Oh my
Also,
gosh.
I do believe somebody owes me a pint for that 59-59.
Wow. My pulse is racing and I am just sitting here. How phenomenal was that?
That was amazing.
Yeah. Oh, do we have our a round of applause?
I played it. I don't know if we could. You know what? I'm gonna do it again.
Do
That was
it.
amazing.
So good. Okay, I am going to release the spotlights momentarily, and we can see how everyone is doing. We've been scrolling around to keep an eye on everyone.
Tess is shaking. Tess, when you are a little bit, when you feel like you've breathed and celebrated and inhaled the moment, we would love to have a little tete-a-tete.
That's it. So take a break. We have 28 more minutes to go on this round. So take a break, take a breath, get your heart rate back to normal, and then we'll we'll bring you on as our guest on the live stream.
And Katie, you know we're going to want to talk to you too.
You betcha. I have
I mean,
questions. I have questions for you both because at the very end, there were some pieces to the side, the left-hand side, and some underneath. And I need to know if you had the same strategy. So I don't want to forget that question.
that was amazing. Let's also not forget that we have some other people who are very, very close. Like Sophie is just right at the
Right
end of this
there.
puzzle.
And I think Katie's time was 02.
Oh, I think you're right. I think I
Yeah.
put it in there wrong.
Okay. It's okay. We have it on the recording.
Yes.
Yeah. So it's
I
three.
was so excited. I was hitting the wrong, I was fat fingering those keys. I mean, I
Wow.
just, I don't even know what to say. Also, 5959. That's a good number.
That is good number. That was unbelievable. That was because I do think if we watch back the recording, something like just smashed into high gear for Tess at the end there. Because I think, at the minute left to go, Katie had fewer pieces.
Hmm.
So, and something happened and Tess ramped into high gear, which is, you know what, this result is very good for me and Danielle because those two are on our team. I'm very pleased with this result, selfishly. Yes.
I do want to know also, is there even something mechanical about that when you have that few pieces left? Like, what are
Mm,
your strategies then? Do you look for one piece and put it in? Do you put all the pieces in your hand and hold them like a hand tray, the way that like Andrea Pang and Kelly Walter do in the US? What is your strategy there? What are you thinking? Is anything even going through your mind, or are you just on autopilot?
so it could be just in a flow.
Hmm.
This will be great to get some answers for
Yeah.
sure. So, ladies, let us know in the chat when you're ready. Tess will start with you to have a chat whenever you are recovered.
And I will say, it looks like Sophie's down to about maybe 10 to 15 pieces.
Yeah, she's close. I think Sophie's going to be our third finisher with a couple of folks really close behind.
Oh, absolutely. Adam is really, right up behind there.
That,
Looks like Danielle and Allison are both, yeah, I mean, just
yeah,
everybody's motoring along on this
yeah,
puzzle.
yeah.
Tess, we don't mind you being sweaty because this is the internet.
That's it. So come on back. Let's have a peek and tell us how that felt. Let's start there.
Hello. The last like 2 minutes were crazy. I got really stuck in the like last third, I would say, before I started working on the shelves. Things really slowed down.
Sorry, I just want to
Mhm.
interrupt because Sophie is about
Oh,
to finish.
Let's watch
So if we
Sophie
can just give
finish
her a
here.
moment there. And she is
And
done.
that was one.
woo!
Oh, dropped a piece.
Oh,
All
now
right.
she's done.
Good job, Sophie. I think I got 104.54 perhaps. And it looks like we didn't have a timer. Okay, 104.54 is Sophie's time. I was watching the clock. All right.
All right. Thank you. Sorry about that. Didn't want to take away from that. But please, Tess, I'm riveted.
Okay. Um, and then okay, pieces to the side and at the bottom. The
Yes,
bottom is piece jail.
got it.
I think you knew that, probably.
Had a hunch, but I
Yeah.
wasn't sure. Yes.
Yeah. Sometimes piece jail's top, sometimes it's bottom. It just depends.
Yeah,
Depends on the day.
that's it.
I don't think I know a single thing that was actually in that puzzle. I didn't like look at the travel guides. I didn't comprehend what I was really doing, just kind of like colors together.
Well, whatever you did from that perspective and paying attention to the right things to speed you up, it worked.
And then speaking of that, I
Excellent.
think Allison has just
Allison, he
finished
has finished at
10604.
106.04. Fabulous. Congratulations. Wow. So we've got our top four finishers.
All right.
Incredible. Incredible. Okay. So, Tess, is this something that if it was in a decision bag, let's say this one versus, oh, I'll give you a good one. Loving Longhorns. What would you choose?
This one. Especially, well, yeah, this one. We'll see how
Yeah.
many more times I do Loving Longhorns before Worlds, but yeah.
Yeah, because that one's tricky, but this one feels it almost feels more structured,
Yeah.
right? It's not a mass of flowers or a mass of trees. It's discrete little chunks of travel guides and shelves.
Yeah. And I went through it very like color by color. I did blue and kind of tried to eliminate that, and then yellow, and then green, and
Nice.
then words. So I always had like something to do.
Hmm. At the end, so you would have heard us have quite a conversation about shape sorting. Is that something you considered?
No.
Okay. You think it would
I
have
think if you would
slowed you
have said
down?
that you had, I might have thought about it for a second longer. But once you also said you didn't shape sort, I wasn't, definitely not.
Look at Devin influencing the way people puzzle.
Little Easter eggs there, I guess you could
Yeah.
say. Speaking of this, let's look at our contenders here. So
Look,
Adam zooming
Adam.
along, Danielle, Rolanda,
I think Adam's down to like 10, 15 pieces. Like
very
this is the
few.
point in the competition where you'd be raising your hand if somebody's not hovering over you, making you extremely nervous and making you lose any memory of how to puzzle.
That's right. That's right. And it does happen.
Oh,
Is
Yeah.
absolutely.
when hovers, I don't know, but I forget.
Yeah.
Oh, that's you'll have a piece in your hand, you'll be like putting it towards the puzzle, going exactly where it lives, and all of a sudden you notice someone is hovering there, and now this piece does not belong. It's not even from this puzzle. It's so weird how it happens.
Uh,
All right, looks
I've
like
been,
Adam is actually looking for pieces there to make sure that he's got them all, moving them off to one side.
That's right.
Like definitely in that last home stretch there.
Tess, we also had a conversation about the shelves and
Mhm.
whether those would be a place to start or a place to go when you're stuck. What was your approach to the shelves?
I did the shelves when I was stuck, when I kind of looked at all the pieces and went, these all look the exact same, even
Mm,
though obviously they're not, but they all just looked busy.
yeah.
And so then I went for the shelves, especially the top one, because it's like a light white compared to the
All
middle
right,
one that's like brown.
Adam has just finished his puzzle.
Yes,
Good job.
Adam.
10904.
That's my pairs partner.
That's it. Great job.
My parents were here this past week, and so I've been practicing puzzling in front of people, and so I think that really helped, and now I'm ready.
Mhm. That's great
'Cause yeah,
practice.
Yeah.
I would just speed puzzle in front of them because I was like, I gotta do this now.
Hmm. Oh, that's
Um,
fantastic. Because
yeah,
it does matter. It's a different type of
that's perfect.
pressure and it's a
Yeah,
different focus you have to have. Because when it's quiet and you're by yourself, even if you have ambiance, you can kind of snap into focus a little bit easier than if you have someone commentary in your ear, being like, I wonder why they did that. Or, oh, there's a piece over here. I can see where it goes, right? And those things happen when you puzzle in front of other people.
I
yeah.
just want to say Ruth and Adam just finished, and Ruth, if you can just hold up that a little bit. It wasn't in focus, so I can't really see your time. It
Ruth and
was
Andrea got
109:53.
53. Good job.
Fantastic.
So you get first in the pairs division.
Absolutely. Like that gets an extra big crowd applause.
Good job, Ruth. Good job, Andrea.
So good.
Excellent. So good. I wonder, Katie, if you're on the line, we've got some questions for you too. I want to know if you did the same sort of piece jail approach as tested.
Hi. Yes, kind of. Like, well, my piece gel, all the piece were in piece gel, actually. But the bottom ones were like they had like longer time to do in jail. But yeah, so the same kind of strategy. Yes, I was listening to Tess talking. I was like, I think we were going pretty much through the same process
Ah.
in our heads. Yeah, for sure.
Was there a specific place, Katie, that you started? Like, did you have an order of colors or a texture that really popped to you?
I had the blues, the yellows, the purple one in the top corner, and then I was trying to figure out, ooh, like which different borders were which, but there's like different reds, different orange, different purples. It was like all over the place. Um, yep. There were the white ones, the little postcards. They
Right.
were like the letters, whatever. They were like easy to figure out at first and place them inside. And then when I got stuck, I went with the
Yeah, the shelves.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah. Seems like a good thing to acknowledge as you're getting started on a puzzle where you would go if you get stuck.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So a lot of people that you'll see when you watch the playback, a lot of people did not necessarily start with the edge, right? So
I
they
did
started
not.
with smaller projects or something like that.
Mm,
Um, which means if you don't start with the edge, if you get stuck, you can move to the edge, right? It could be that backup, depending on what your puzzling preference would be, for sure.
mm.
Mhm.
And then you feel like useful.
That's it. Look at these
Yeah.
finishers. So we've got, I think it's Danielle versus Rolanda right now. This is a very tight race at the end. And I
Oh,
know
absolutely.
Tess and Katie, you just went through the pain of this exact spot. So we can see how they're flying through the end here
I mean, Rolanda is just like on fire.
on
I think
fire.
Rolanda is like the pieces are on fire.
Yeah, pieces are lava. Let's pick it up, put it in.
And
Oh, here we
113.19.
go.
That's amazing.
113.19. Well done, Rolanda. Fantastic. Now Kirsty's
Yeah.
clapping out loud.
We hear it.
There we go. Yeah, and look at we've got so next up, I think, and let me know if you'll agree with this. We've got probably Danielle and Sam.
I think so.
Yeah. I'm gonna have some questions for many people around the end here on what tactic you used to just motor through that last, I don't know, Katie Tess, like 30 pieces, 40 pieces at the end there where it just can feel as slow as molasses. 114.04 for Danielle. Good job. And
Oh,
Sam,
Sam is so close.
so close. And Sam is at, I'll angle it down a tiny bit. So
14:21.
114.1. Wow, good job. I'm liking this clapping track. I like it a lot. There's
I
effects here.
I have other clapping effects I could use, but I haven't listened to them, so I'm not sure I want to risk it.
That's it. Let's have a peek at some people's progress we've got going on here. So we've got maybe we'll call it the molasses part because it's so slow at the end there. So it looks like Tamara's in molasses, Laura's in molasses, Amy's in molasses. So just go as fast as you can through this slow part because you've seen some of our top puzzlers also slowed down at this part. So don't get disheartened. It is
Molasses is in, it's
difficult.
not you, it's the puzzle.
Exactly. It's not you, it's the puzzle. Exactly. Mm,
Tamara's like, and I think for the being at this part, everybody is still really flying for
mm.
how hard this is to be scanning the entire puzzle and just looking for those individual pieces and where they go. Like, I think we don't give that enough credit for how hard that can be because you don't have your focus in just one little spot. You've got to be over the entire puzzle, which means your brain's got to take in so much information with every scan.
It's a great point. So here's a question. We'll start with Katie, but Tess, I'd love to hear your perspective on this as well. As you're in the molasses slow part at the end there, are you more often looking at the puzzle and the hole in the puzzle and then finding the piece that fits? Or are you looking at the piece and then trying to find the hole in the puzzle it fits in? Like, do you go puzzle first or piece first?
Puzzle first.
Puzzle first.
Yeah. Yeah, yeah. Like I didn't like shape sort at the end, but I switched my brain to spotting the shape of the pieces. So it wasn't like actual shape sort, but my brain did it. So if I had, let's say, a 3, well, then I was like roaming to find it. So it was like a different type of shape sorting, but because the colors, they're all over the place, the textures, it's really hard to spot them. So I went more by shape at the end. Yeah.
Interesting. And Tess, you're nodding. Did you do the same sort of strategy?
It depends how many pieces are left, because if
Okay.
there's like 20, then I do puzzle and then kind of memorize like what that piece would look like and then look at the pieces. But when I found in this puzzle after the shelves, I got kind of stuck and there were still maybe 50 pieces. And so that's when I did a pick up just a piece and like dragged it, not dragged it, but like held it above the puzzle and scanned the entire puzzle just looking for the one spot it went in. And found that to be kind of fast. And then I got familiar with where things were in the puzzle.
It is,
So I switch it up.
and I think it is a definite choice that until you
Mhm.
develop it as a habit, you have to make. Like, am I starting with the holes in the puzzle and going to hunt down the piece, or the opposite? And I think I think Tamara's maybe got,
Yeah.
gosh, three left. Yes. Oh, where's our clapping track? Yay. 1:18:03. And Amy done right after 1:18. Amy, I didn't catch the seconds on that one. 1:18. Is that 12?
Looks like a 12 to me, yeah.
Perfect. Yes, it's a 12. Wow. See, we got some tight clumps of finishers here for sure. Excellent. Excellent. Let's see who else is on the line. I wonder if we have
I'm gonna pop off the line and I'll see you after the puzzle.
that. No problem. Thanks for joining us on the live stream, Tess.
Thanks,
For
Tess.
having me.
Excellent. Excellent. So let's see here. I wonder if we have Sophie and Allison on the line. That's our third and fourth place finishers.
See Allison. Hello, Allison. Great to see you again. Nice shirt.
Hello. Thank you.
So when you opened the bag and saw the puzzle, what was your first reaction?
Busy puzzles aren't my favorite. Give me another mountain. Um, and I know like busy edges in general, is not my strong suit. So I did a little bit of it just
Yeah.
to kind of get some frame, and then I had it to the side. So that was my backup project when things got slow. And I went back and I finished the edge. So I had it pulled. I heard some of the words you said. I heard you call out my purple, Liz. It was actually like the third or fourth color I did.
Really?
So yeah.
Oh, I have to interrupt. This is our 10 minutes remaining warning. Keep going, everyone. This is exciting. All right. Okay. So Allison, did you find it helpful to have that project you could do right away when you get stuck?
Yeah, I did. So I did like the blue and then the red, and there's so many.
23. Sorry to interrupt again. 1:20:23 for Laura. Great job. Great job.
I feel like there's so many small details that you can catch that would really, really speed you up on like a second attempt of this. Like there's like little frames and it's like, okay, I have this red line,
Mm.
and then you're like, it's somewhere. So you're like really looking to figure out where that red line is. So I can definitely see how doing puzzles like this, right, you get to know where things are, and you would really speed up on a second attempt.
I bet that's true. I bet many people could shave off a significant amount of time once you've done it once and you get the feel for where
Mhm.
everything goes. So speaking of doing it before, Sophie has joined us. So Sophie, how was it to see this pop out of the bag there and be like, oh, maybe I recognize some of these things?
For sure, I've done this one before. I don't remember when. Maybe before Worlds last year.
Yeah.
It's not my type of puzzle, so I
Yeah.
wasn't that excited.
Yeah, that's a good point. Just because you've done something before doesn't mean you hey, walk in the rain, perfect example.
I
Just
think you mean a walk in the pain.
walk in the pain.
No,
That's true. Yes, that's true. Where did you begin on your solve today, Sophie?
actually, while I was flipping, I'm very like I get my focus is very like when I heard you guys talk, I was always focusing on that. So somehow I got influenced by you guys because then like you were talking, oh, maybe start with the yellow or maybe start with the shelf. So then I was like, my brain it was like pretty much all over the place and not focus on one thing. And so at some point, like early on, I was like, oh, maybe I'll do I did the edge because I'm an edge person. And then I was like, oh, let me try to do the shelves because I remember on other puzzles I've done shelves, but then this one was like a like complete like disaster, and I lost a lot of time with shelves, I think.
It's amazing how the environment around you can influence what you
Yeah.
do. So if you're at Worlds and you're hearing the live stream, people will be talking, they will be commenting on what strategies different puzzlers are taking. But you don't have to be just near the live stream booth. You could be around the edges.
I was just about to say, like, it's
Yeah.
not just the
Yeah.
live stream. It's not just for the people right up in front. You know, when you're at those edges, like everybody is talking and people will try to help you, which is A, against the rules, and two, really distracting because it's really hard to like you can't backseat drive a jigsaw puzzle.
That's right. That's right.
And same with like even in pairs and teams, right? It's like you hear the people sharing the table with you. It's so loud in there. Everyone's talking loud, so you can hear your partner, and then you're hearing what they're working on. You're like, should we be working on that?
I mean, and sometimes it does help. I will say that the first in-person competition I ever did was nationals, Canadian nationals, not last year, but the year before. And I was in the Paris postcard round, and I'm sitting there just sorting out my pieces and like starting the border. And the woman next to me is doing that bright orange flower up at the top. And I'm like, you know what? Yeah, I'm gonna do that. That's a good idea.
And sometimes if you're stuck and you want to take a peek, it's not a bad idea just to see if something has worked for other folks. But if you're in a
Just,
flow,
yeah.
keep
Then
your eyes
let
on your
people
own
look at you.
page. Yeah.
Yeah, it's not like school where like looking at somebody else's homework is going to get you disqualified. Like it's okay.
It does feel like that, right? Like I remember for qualifying at Worlds last year, because I didn't know the person next to me, but
Mhm.
then I was like, ooh, like because they just place you however they want, right? Like at the first qualifier. So I was like, am I as fast as this person next to me, right? And then so as we're puzzling, at some point I did look over, like see, oh, where is she, what is she doing? And I'm like,
5 minutes, 5 minutes remaining.
I was like, oh yeah, okay, we're about the same. So I'm feeling good about this.
Great progress, everyone.
I
Great
do love
progress.
Caitlin's comment here that she was at the Portland Jigsaw Masters and chatting with her pair's partner, I think it was, and talking about how long the puzzle would take. Or maybe I don't know if were you puzzling or were you just spectating, Caitlin, for that? But the woman near them said, like, please shut up. You're freaking us out. Oh, they were spectating. I mean, you know what though? If you've got your money on somebody else in the round, maybe you do that. High stakes jigsaw puzzles.
That's it. That's it. Look, we've got 4 minutes left, and we've
Mhm.
got some significant progress on a lot of these puzzlers who are left. So we've got 9 puzzlers who are still remaining. And I think we can do a really good push to the end to get as many in the frame as possible. We will do a piece count, of course, at the
Mhm.
end, as they would do at Worlds to ensure we've got the right ranking in the results.
Which means this might be a good time if you feel like you're not going to be able to get it in there to get as many three-piece like little islands as you can. Although I would say for this puzzle, that's probably not the best strategy. But generally, if you are in a puzzle where you can, that's what you're going to be wanting to do at this point. But don't stop until you are told to stop. And
Right.
Kyla, you keep going because you have an extra 40 seconds.
That's right. 48 seconds specifically. So we'll
Mhm.
have the countdown for everyone, then we'll have the countdown for Kyla.
Absolutely. I do think we're going to have a couple finishers though before we get to those
I
countdowns.
think so.
I do see
Janet
that
is
happening.
close. Very, very close.
Janet is
Absolutely.
close. Yeah, very close. Allison B is pretty close.
So is Janet. Janet's great and
Yeah.
close.
Listen, I
Big
can't.
shout out to Janet, who I partner with sometimes at Snakes and Lattes. Shout out really to Irene, also who I partnered with at Snakes and Lattes. And I don't know if you guys have ever heard of this person named Devin. Sometimes I go there with her. And Kirsty. I'm kind of a puzzle slut, I
I was
guess.
gonna say, Liz just goes to Snakes and Lattes and pulls people in.
I get around.
That's it.
I will say though, if you have the opportunity to puzzle with other people, it is really good because everybody has such different strategies and different methodologies, and you can learn from each other. And your strategies and you may not be the most compatible puzzler sometimes, but
Happens.
it's also good to learn how to work with that because sometimes that happens.
Right, that's right. And sometimes, when you're trying out different combinations and permutations of teams, or, I've been to an event where you're thrown into random teams, all of it can be anchored on communication,
Absolutely.
right?
And when you're in those random teams, those are hard because
That,
you don't generally have a whole lot of time to talk to people, like at least because I know we've done the same one where you find your random teammates out and then 5 minutes later you are doing a puzzle with them. And so you've got to learn that quick how to get into the same flow state with other people you've never met before.
it's a skill. I think that's another skill that contributes to your capability to meet your goals in puzzling with other people.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
everybody has different ways of puzzling, right? So if you puzzle with different people, you'll see most people have the same ways, but then some people have some tricks maybe or tweaks that they do, and you're like,
minute.
oh, okay,
Un
you can read.
momento.
That's right. Yeah. Like when Sophie and I started puzzling together, what is now known as Peace Jail, I used to call the Sophie pile. So anytime I got stuck, I just jammed the piece in her hand and she could find it. It was just a strategy that worked for us. Now we have Peace Jail and we can be much more orderly about it when puzzling with other people.
And Sophie doesn't have to run around to every team doing all their puzzles.
That would be fun though.
You know what? We should have an event like that where like one person has to like switch like oh my God,
Go
I
for
have
it.
Or it's like a
some
bonus, right? You like win an advantage and
oh my
then
God.
Sophie goes and puzzles with you. Okay,
Yes. All
we're
right.
gonna keep an eye on the clock here.
Okay.
Because folks, other
10,
than Kyla,
9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Everyone, hands up.
pause your timers.
Your timers. Kyla, keep going. We'll let you know when your time is up.
Yeah, Kyla's
And
got, another 40 something seconds here.
Mhm.
So
Everyone else, go ahead and start counting your pieces. Recommend groups of 10. Volunteer will come by to mark off your pages. And anything that is in a group of 3 or more, that is considered complete. So only count the ones that are 2 pieces or 1 piece. Kyla, you are at, keep going, keep going. I'm just letting you know,
10,
I'm just talking to
9,
you. 9,
8,
8.
7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and Kyla's done as well.
All right, pause your timer.
Great job, everyone.
Good job.
Good job. We need our round of applause, Liz.